Hi everyone! Today I'm going to demonstrate the Lokscroll scroll rod system, which is by Artisan Designs. They're out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma in the United States. All of their products are made in the USA from solid wood, and I'm going to give you an overview of a Lokscroll system, and then I'm going to load some fabric into the Lokscrolls so you can see how easy it is to do. So let me show you first the overview of a Lokscroll. And we have two scroll bars. Each scroll bar has a slot, an oak stick that is used to keep the fabric securely in the slot, and a tension knob on each end. There are also sidebars. The sidebars do come in various heights depending on how much of your fabric you like to have showing when you're working. The scroll rods also come in various widths, up to 30 inches long, which can hold fabric about 28 to 29 inches wide. In addition, there are also 4 locking knobs that go on each end of the scroll bar. You see the screws protruding from each end of the scroll bar. Very easy to load the sidebars onto the scroll rods. So let me go ahead now and quickly demonstrate for you how to put fabric onto the Lokscrolls. So I will take a piece of fabric, working side up. That is important to note. You want to work with the working side facing up, and I will show you how to roll the fabric on to protect the working side as much as possible. So I will start by loading the fabric onto the top. From my point of view, this is the top scroll rod. Notice that the locking knobs here, the tension knobs rather, are on my right hand side. That's the ideal way to load the fabric. Now I will make sure that the grain of the fabric lines up as closely with the slot as possible, and then I will take the stick and press it down into the slot, pushing the fabric along with it. And then I will make sure the edge of my stick is pushed a little bit underneath that tension knob. There's a little well there, space underneath that tension knob, where you can slide the stick inside to make sure that the stick stays securely in place when you tighten the fabric. So what I'm going to do is now load each locking knob. Just screw it on to each side of the scroll bar. Just a little bit. Not ready to tighten these all the way yet. First I need to wind the fabric. Once I get the knob on, I need to wind the fabric. Now, winding the fabric is important. Before you wind, again, make sure that you have an even amount of fabric protruding from the top. At least ½ an inch is good. ½ an inch to an inch. When I'm satisfied that my fabric is evenly loaded in, I'm going to start to wind it. Now this is important because we want to protect the working side as much as possible. I'm going to roll this top scroll bar towards me to wrap that protruding end within the fabric, and I'm rolling it so that the underside of the fabric is what is being rolled around the scroll rod and is the part of the fabric that is exposed when I am working. So I'll just put that on, wrap it about 1 turn, and then I can go ahead and tighten the knobs a little bit more. Not all the way. I'm still not ready to tighten everything all the way. Now I need to load the fabric onto the bottom scroll rod. So to do so, I take the fabric underneath the bottom scroll rod. Again, I'm keeping the working side up. I want to have that protected. So I'm wrapping the fabric underneath the scroll rod at the bottom and away from me, so the back side of the fabric is what is being wrapped underneath and coming over the top of the scroll frame, of the scroll rod. So again, same principle as the top. I want to align the grain of the fabric as evenly with the slot as possible. use the stick to press the fabric down into the slot. And notice this is a very secure fit, very tight. I will slide that stick over just a little bit so it's underneath that tension knob. I will place each locking knob on the end of the scroll frame. Also notice, as I'm loading this fabric, no tape, no basting, no Velcro. As I said, all you need is the tension. So now that I have the locking knobs on either side of the bottom scroll frame, again, I'm going to roll the fabric onto the frame just a little bit. And notice that I am now rolling the bottom scroll rod away from me. Away from me. So the top scroll rod I was rolling toward me, the bottom I'm rolling away. Now that I have enough of the fabric onto the scroll rod, and again I'll make sure that the fabric is even. At this point you can make little adjustments as needed. You can slide it around, you can make sure that the fabric is being loaded on there as straight as possible, assuming of course that your fabric was cut fairly straight. Now I'm going to go ahead and lock down my 4 locking knobs, starting with the top scroll bar. So I'm going to hold on to this tension knob with my right hand and lock down the opposing locking knob with my left hand. Then I'm going to lock down, tighten. In other words, when I say lock down, I mean tighten all the way the opposite locking knob on the right hand side. Now, I'm going to get the bottom scroll rod as tight as I can. And to do so, I will hold on to this tension knob with my right hand, and I will lock down the left knob. And again, I'm using tension, pushing this scroll rod away from me for the bottom. Then I will lock down the opposite knob, and the fabric is loaded onto the scroll frame. If I want to have more of the fabric loaded onto the top scroll frame, easy to do. I just need to loosen each locking knob a little bit and then roll that top frame toward me, roll the top scroll rod toward me, and then tighten the screws down. Now my tension is pretty good. I'm happy with that. So it is just that easy to load the fabric onto the Lokscroll scroll rods. Might take a little bit of practice and a few minor adjustments, but you don't need any special equipment, just what you see here and your fabric. Now, it is recommended that when you are not actually stitching your project, that you should loosen the tension of the scroll frame just a little bit, because that will prevent the scroll rods from warping over time if you like to work with a lot of tension in your project. That is recommended. And how much tension you do work with is completely up to you, but the Lokscroll is fully adjustable, so you can have as much or as little tension as you wish. Just keep in mind the tip for loosening when you are not working with the project. So now that my fabric is loaded, I am ready to put this on my floor stand and start stitching.